Good morning or good afternoon, or wherever you are. It's Matt Coleman, your host from Magnify World. Our company champions a space of emerging technology, and in particular augmented reality and virtual reality. And over the last couple of months, we've tracked down some of the top 50 most interesting companies in this space. And today, for my first time actually, we are doing an interview with Forrest, the CEO and founder of Pluto VR from Seattle. Talking from Los Angeles, where I am, and he's in Seattle. Welcome. How are you, Forrest, today?
Doing pretty well. Thanks for having me here.
Excellent. So we had a bit of a pre-production meeting last week just to get to know the technology and everything like that. And it's really exciting to be doing this and trying out your new tech that you've been developing over the last number of years. Can you tell us, how did you get into this and what inspired you? And then we talked about, let's do this interview on the moon potentially, right? So tell us a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, so going back about 7 years ago, I had the experience of trying out a headset. It was a custom-made headset using custom high-end film motion capture equipment to provide a wireless experience where you had a headset and you had a controller, one positionally tracked controller, and it just blew my mind. And we got a chance, and it was actually really funny because I ended up bumping into my co-founder there because he was also getting the demo right after me. And so Jared Cheshire, one of my co-founders of Pluto, also got that demo. And we just looked at this and said, clearly, this is the future. And we'd always been interested in VR since we were kids, but it kind of, died off. And then this was sort of the resurgence. And so we just dove in and started learning Unity, learning the different technologies that go into making this possible. And that's what really sparked all of this.
And so Seattle's a bit of a hotbed for new tech, of course, being the startup world plus, major corporations. Is that part of your inspiration growing up in the region, or what's the backstory for you?
I mean, Jared and I actually both grew up in Central Washington, so we were from Yakima originally. And, I will say that there was one kind of critical moment for me in which I had traveled over to the Seattle Science Center. And, this was mid-90s or something, so this was a while ago. And I had the experience to try, virtual reality for the first time. And it was one of those huge headsets that you had the little ring pad that you stood on.
Right.
And I remember I was doing a hand gliding experience. And I was just so, as a kid, I was just so excited that virtual reality was going to be the future. And then, after sort of the bust of that whole industry, it kind of went away. And so I'd always been interested in media and technology, but it wasn't until fairly recently that kind of the VR part of this resurged.
Great. So let's just talk about the technology and what we're actually using for a start, just for some of the viewers, because they may not have tried this. So I'm wearing an HTC Vive. We've downloaded Pluto into the Steam store. Tell us about, the environment and what you have to actually download and get, to have these sorts of experiences.
Yeah, so right now we're running on a PCVR ecosystem. So I'm wearing a Valve Index headset, which also has the Knuckles controllers, so I can actually articulate my individual fingers here. I can throw up the horns here.
Excellent.
And so then we're using the Steam platform to be able to render what we're doing. Pluto is actually, we're like an augmented reality application. So the thing that's hard to see here, because you can't peel off these layers, is Pluto is just the people part of this. So you and I, this is the audio and the visuals, that's Pluto. The moon we're on, this is actually just a different app. This is a Unity application that I threw together in a couple minutes. I downloaded a simple moon landscape file, threw it into Unity, and then that was the file I sent to you that you opened. So we're both running independent versions of the moon, basically. And so we have Pluto, and then we have this. And actually, this camera here that we're using to record is another application. It's called Live. And you'll see it's Live. It's a mixed reality tool. And so the camera is actually built by a different company. And so you're starting to see this segmentation of these software pieces. Pluto's providing the people. Unity is providing this game background. And then Live is providing the camera we're using.
So let's talk about your the film director in the background here. And Yeah, and how can we collaborate and just explain what we're doing here with the different cameras and things?
Totally. So right now, I have one camera, and this is the camera that I control, and I can actually show you my ability to control it. So I can move it around here, grab it, and make us move around. So I'm controlling this camera, and then Emily over here, who is our second camera operator, she's controlling her own camera. And so what's happening is we're all in a conversation together. So on Pluto, we're just in a conversation, and so that allows us to see and hear each other, kind of as if we're in person. And we're able to make direct eye contact. I can see you, and you can see me, and we can see Emily over there.
Yeah, waving. And so where's Earth? Let's just talk about Earth here for a moment.
It's over there, yeah.
So, I mean, the quality, I think, is very good. I mean, where's the quality aspects of all this coming from since you started this? Because you've been working on this, I think, for 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah, Pluto's been around for a little over 5 years now. And, really this is sort of all coming along the technology all together. So it's all the pieces. It's the hardware, the software platforms are getting better, the graphics cards are getting better. Each one of these individual pieces keep incrementing and getting better over time. And so it can be easy to kind of, VR's been around for a while, but it keeps chugging along and it keeps getting better. And I think we're getting close to a turning point where especially with the segmentation of applications where we can run multiple applications at the same time, it means developers can start focusing and making their experience better and better.
And can you use any of the gaming engine technologies, I suspect, for background engagement and things like that? And I think last week we even had a green screen, right?
Yeah, and well, actually, this is the thing that's happening right now. Let me just pull up my interface here real quick. So what you're seeing right now, and to really show you what's happening here to the audience, we're on a green screen right now. So this is, I've been using a chroma key on my compositor here to be able to put these pieces together. And so now I've just turned on the green screen, so you can see what Pluto's actually rendering. So Pluto is providing the compositor here, this video compositor, a green screen, and then I'm using a separate compositing tool to actually remove that green and give us this nice mixed view while we're on the moon together.
Yeah, amazing. One of the other questions I had was hand gestures we talked about, and you can create your own avatar, obviously, within the Pluto network. What's the story about the rest of your body? And is there any limitations? And is there also any limitations on the amount of people you can get into these rooms? Because I know with some other applications like VR chat, there's some quality limitations of possibly 60 to 150 people in different rooms, but maybe give us some insights into what's happening with this product in the industry.
Yeah, so there's a lot of thought that's gone into why we're represented the way we are. And so kind of fundamentally, It goes back down to the way our perception system, the way our brains see and perceive the world. So when you see something and you see someone, there's these key pieces that make your brain go, oh, that's a person. A lot of it's motion, a lot of it's the way they move. And the critical piece to this is that we only have tracking. So right now I have a headset and I have controllers, and that's all I have. I have no additional tracking information about my body. So if we show a body, that body is not based on any real data. It's just, at best case, people use technologies like inverse kinematics to guesstimate what a position might be like for someone. And in this scenario, sorry, something loud is coming outside. My street cleaners deciding to come by.
I didn't know there was street cleaners on the moon, actually.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird, mixing all these different realities together.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, so sorry about that.
So the research, that you've done in regards to body movements and body parts, tell us more about that. Yeah,
so your brain is very good at filling in the gaps. Your brain can actually say, oh, I have a body here, like, especially if I interact with it, you can kind of start to fill in the gaps of where my body might be. Like, I'm actually sitting down, so I actually have, these are my legs right here. But our brains are really bad at erasing false information. So if you ever experienced an optical illusion, right, where you're looking at some image and you can't, you kind of see it in different ways or it looks weird, That's sort of what's happening here. Like we can hide the information. We can say, oh, I can see that you're standing up. I can see this different, like I can guess where your body is. You can guess what I'm doing if I turn my arms like this. Like you can see what I'm doing. But when you put a body in there that's not based on real data, it gets your brain kind of goes, oh, that's not a person, and it breaks this illusion that like you're actually a person.
Oh, that's very interesting. And I think also, coming back to even the sound in this Vive that I'm wearing, it's almost like being an astronaut, to be honest, because or a recording studio, high quality headphones here, I can absolutely hear everything crystal clear. As you said, we could just hear something from the street around the corner for you before, but the quality is just absolutely amazing, I think, as well, which, for 360 environments and walkthroughs and how you can jump around in VR, it's actually quite important.
Yeah, one of the great things is, it's a high tax right now to put on a big headset. Like it's totally, we know that putting on a headset is a lot of work, but you get other benefits, right? The microphone is right in the optimum position to be able to hear your voice. So even if you think about most video chats you're doing, either the microphone is on the webcam, or maybe they're wearing AirPods or something, and then the microphone's on their ear, right? The microphone is like right here, right above my mouth. And they've also invested a lot in making the audio, like the actual microphone itself, a really great microphone. And so that's also a hardware piece as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. And tell us, what are some of the other applications? Obviously, with the COVID situation in education, this is a massive opportunity for the education market to engage students in a different way. I'm just talking about geography or tourism.
Yeah.
As just one example, let alone space travel. I'm sure, can you give us some examples?
I mean, it's interesting because we're sort of in this category where the kind of the possibilities are endless. Like, there's so many different things you can do. I mean, we're obviously on the moon here and getting a chance to kind of experience this. Areas we've seen, I mean, really, just the ability to connect with other people right now, right? During COVID, the ability to share the same physical space is incredibly difficult. And so we've talked to educators who just the use of a whiteboard, right? Just the ability to share a whiteboard and to write something and then have the students be able to see this thing together, that alone is a really powerful tool. We've also been seeing this in areas like telemedicine, teleoperations, things like that, where you're trying to like look at spatial data and understand what's going on with a patient. These are all things that are starting to become more relevant. Obviously, all the kind of architecture and design. Anytime you're working with 3D data that you don't want to just see on a 2D screen, you want to be able to see in 3D. That really makes a huge difference. And film production. Like, the Mandalorian is a great example of leveraging a lot of VR and AR technologies to be able to actually make that show possible.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Even The Lion King, when they, shot that, right, they were using VR to create the perfect shot, right, because they could put themselves into any angle of that environment and then shoot that in real time and get an amazing result out of it. For a remake that was very photorealistic, but using all the latest technology. I was seeing that even Westworld on their season 3 have been using the Unreal Engine and LED wall environments. I'm not sure how far that goes into VR, but all these technologies are all coming together now. Let's talk about some other user cases for possibly enterprise training. I would imagine that's a good one for you as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime like it starts to just say, okay, anytime you need to be able to talk to someone else as if they're in person, and then like be able to make gestures and say, okay, well, next you need to do this, right? Next you need to look over here and then look over there, and like the anytime that you're trying to make those kinds of connections, they're very difficult on video chat because you can't communicate spatially. Like if I point over there, where I'm pointing. You can see the line from where my finger is, and like oh, he's pointing over there. Try pointing at something in video chat. Doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. And when do you think the research that you've done, I mean, in the market moving forward, the AR VR business is having a revival at the moment because of COVID. because people need to collaborate, and they can't, have these one-on-one meetings, of course, unless it's virtual. Most people use Zoom, but how do you qualify the market opportunity for Pluto and other companies in the VR space moving forward? It must be quite bullish now.
Oh yeah, and the major shift we see happening is the launch of these new lightweight AR wearable devices like the Nreal device. So there are, especially powered by Qualcomm chips, there are a whole lot of lightweight XR, kind of XR viewers, right? And we don't really see it as VR or AR. We just see the market as spatial, which is any software that exists in 3D that understands the world and has, that exists in these kind of 3D coordinate systems. So that's sort of where we see a huge opportunity. And with lightweight phone-based AR wearable devices that can be easily worn all day, right? So the devices we're wearing, it's hard to wear all day. Like I've done it, but it's still bigger than ski goggles level thing. But these next gen versions are like sunglasses. And when you get to that level, you can really see how you could experience an all-day kind of spatial computing experience where at any point in time, someone could just pop up next to you and you could have a conversation with them like you're in person.
Yep.
Or you could even be using your computer. Like a normal 2D computer screen is a really powerful use case.
So I was watching Picard the other day, and, Star Trek obviously started back in the day transporting people through time, of course, appearing in different planets and spacecraft. I mean, basically, that's what we can do with this, though, isn't it? At the end of the day, particularly with mixed reality glasses, burgeoning on the market even more. You could be in the street and you could be talking to your mother, beaming in straight away, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the Pluto's purpose is to help humanity transcend physical locations. So no matter where you are, you can feel present with other people as if you're in person, and that's what we're getting towards. Is we have to some extent the technical capabilities to you can call someone on the phone from anywhere in the world, you can video chat with them anywhere in the world, but it's a very different experience than standing next to them. And especially as the scanning technology gets better, they won't just be here next to you virtually. They'll see what you see. So you'll be able to say, "Hey, check out this cool thing I'm looking at." And now they could even see what you're seeing as you're walking down the street. And so you can really share not just your human presence with them, but you can also share sort of the ambient environment around you and kind of be able to walk them through what you're doing.
And what's your research like in the smart glass market here? For example, Apple's bringing out potentially their smart glasses in the coming 18 months or less, we hope. Can't wait to see how that interacts with the world and if there's a mobile device even required or a smartwatch engagement there. There's the other company that's obviously we did talk about is Nreal. I mean, how do you see how's your development roadmap plan on that? Are you in there right now?
So we have Nreal glasses, and we're exploring and experimenting with that. We're excited about anything Apple might make. We don't have anything there, but we do have our early Pluto client for iOS, and have been doing a lot of experimentations to be able to call in via an iOS iPhone or iPad. And so then you could have sort of a piece of this experience, even though it's through a small two-dimensional screen. And yeah, so we see this progression going along. And I think the way to think about it for us too is that it's all the pieces coming together. So it's not just the phone and the AR glasses, but it's the phone, the AR glasses, and then the network connection to a cloud or edge instance that enables you to have high quality rendering, high quality spatial experiences without it being able to run on your phone. Because right now, I'm on a very high end PC gaming computer with the latest NVIDIA graphics card, but a phone can't deliver that kind of experience, but it can if you're streaming it.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about 5G for a moment. I mean, I've never seen so much advertising for 5G, but it's not everywhere yet, of course. A little bit of controversy as well, but the telecommunication companies are pinning their next probably 3 years on 5G delivery of content, right? How important is edge computing? And maybe just explain what is edge computing to our viewers, because some may know, some may not know. But, it's the quality, as you said, of the delivery on device. Can you just explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, to be as simply as possible with kind of edge computing, right now, when you're using a service, a web service that's in one of these giant data centers, even if I'm in Seattle, Washington, I'm actually connecting to an Oregon data center. So the nearest West Coast data center, even though, like if this was AWS, even though Amazon is in Seattle, they're actually their big West Coast data center is in Oregon. So every single bit of data, every single byte of data, right, is going from Seattle down to Oregon and back for anything. All edge computing is saying, let's take that compute resource and move it closer. So instead of being in another state, it's down the block.
Amazing, isn't it? Really, and particularly what's ready to come. Let's just towards the end of the conversation here. Let's talk about the entertainment business and what's going on with Fortnite at the moment, and the success of their virtual concerts. How can we get that web-based application with millions of people into these sort of environments in the future? And how long are we away from? It's really down to 5G edge computing and smart glasses, is it? Integration? Do you see that happening in the next 5 years? It's been enormously successful for the live music business, because there ain't any live business at the moment. What's your aspirations and thoughts on the live music business with these sort of tools?
I think that's a great example. Like, live concerts are a critical piece of the music industry, and it's one of those pieces that can't be reproduced previously or up until now digitally. But once you can start having this ability to share presence with other people and have these like immersive entertainment experiences, you're really going to see things like live music becoming something that you can go to a digital concert at any point in time, right? Right now, if you want to go to a concert, COVID aside, right? Not COVID, even before COVID, if you wanted to go to a concert, it really needed to be, in the evening, and it needed to be maybe the weekend, depending on where you are and how much density of music and entertainment there is. But it's going to be the point where you'll be able to go to a live concert at any time during the day, any day of the week, because of the global nature of this. And I see that making a huge, and that's not just for live music, but theater, live theater. I've done a lot of improv. Improv is something that you really can't transport out of the theater. And we're going to see that transition happening where you can go to these live performances at any point in time from anywhere.
Fantastic, Forrest. Look, any final comments from you on the state of the industry? And also I'd like you to tell people, how do they find you on LinkedIn, and also about your company online?
Yeah. So final thoughts on the industry. Things are just starting to take off. We've been doing this for a little while, but we know that this is a long pathway, and it's always easy to overestimate the short term, but people underestimate the long term. And this technology is going to have a fundamental impact that I believe is going to be bigger than just the transition between, mobile phones to smartphones. This is going to be as big as the transition from no computers to personal computers. And for me, it's you can find me Forrest Gibson with one R pretty much anywhere on LinkedIn, Twitter, all over. I'm pretty consistent.
Fantastic, Forrest. Hey, look, I really appreciate you setting this up today. And what an amazing story. I think this company is, really driving the innovation for VR. I haven't seen anything this good in the marketplace. And, well done, and congratulations on all the efforts you've done in the last 5 years. It takes a lot to keep on driving this forward, particularly with all the enhanced tech that comes along every year at the same time, which you need to keep up with. Just to finish up, I saw you floating on the moon last night. Can you say goodbye that way?
Ooh, if I can try to do a leap jump. Sure, I can give you a jump here. Let me change my settings so I can do that. Okay, I have my moon gravity on. So, okay. So you got a good shot as I jump away. I'm going to bound away. Oh, that was pretty high.
Great, Forrest. We shall see you soon.
See you soon.